Going live. What we need is like a sprinkly thing on the screen to go woo at that point, and it can flash up and saying.
Should probably do something like that.
Yeah, it sounds like it would take away from knitting time, though. To be honest, wouldn't it?
Why can't I see that all big?
I don't know. I can see us. I've just turned our volume down. We are there.
Yeah, I can see that we're there. It's just a preview screen that I can see, and it's really tiny.
Have you gone to Lilliput?
I don't know what's going on with it. It's only ever done this today. It's not usually like that on Facebook. Sorry, guys, I'm just a bit baffled by what's happening with the software.
Technology.
Well, with Facebook, it's not the software that's doing it. It's Facebook that's doing it. So as long as we're live in the group, that's all good. Hello. Happy Thursday.
Anybody out there?
Anybody
through?
Anyone exciting? I've got a big mug of me builder's tea, as you would expect.
I've got a tea, big tea. And I have got a orange and pineapple squash for afterwards.
Oh, tea's in my favourite mug, the polite one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My absolute favourite mug. I need another one.
You do. You definitely need another one.
Because sometimes that has to go in the wash.
Well, I'm going to grab my whip.
Okay, what are you whipping?
Well, you know what I'm whipping, because you know what this is. This is... Don't you love the innocence as she asked that question?
What are you whipping?
No.
Go on,
I wonder if Jennifer's here. It's a bit like Emma saying, BC. So it's the Vera V-neck.
Oh.
I have a sleeve on the floor. Can you...
#SleeveGate.
See the beginnings of my sleeve. Now,
love it.
I'm not working in the round. I did for the first couple of rows, and then once I'd got to the point of the first decrease, I turned flat.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the decrease.
Okay.
Because that will be my seam from that, and that will swallow 2 stitches, and then I'll just carry on following the pattern from now on, and then I will join again at the wristband so that I'm working in the round for the cuffs.
Yeah.
And then I don't have a seam at the cuffs.
Cool. It's whatever you prefer to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not at this stage yet, and I've got this really annoying pony needle, but my my knit pro was just too long, and I really couldn't be bothered to go looking for a shorter cable.
Right.
Which it was just out of my headspace today, so I grabbed a pony needle. It's the 3.75mm, and I thought I'll just work with that. And other than when I start the row, it's fine. And once I've done another couple of inches, I'll actually be able to get this onto straights, and then I'll be twice as fast.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you went with, that's like a purpley mix.
Yeah, I'll just show you it. You see that? Okay.
Oh yeah, I spotted that one in your picture. I like that.
Yeah, depending on where you buy it, I think Wool Warehouse is colour 904, and they call it Lavender Dream, but some other shops just call it Lavender. It's got a little bit of sort of a camely colour in it.
Yeah.
Which rescues it for me, because otherwise it's a little on the cool side.
Right.
It's making the pink look a tad cooler than it is. I've got all of the pink over here with my side, which is a warm colour, and it instantly warms up when I put it next to that. So this is what we would call a universal pink. It will work with either or. So that's quite fortunate.
It's lovely, that.
And that takes me to how far I've got. Now, you will remember that by accident, when I went to the hairdressers last week, which is in the market hall where the wool shop is.
Yeah.
And it's a one-way system. So, of course, I had to walk round and past the wool shop. And during that process, 2 balls of Starcraft Highland heathers fell into my bag. So I had to buy them so that I didn't look like a shoplifter, obviously.
You know, nobody can expect you to have to go past a hazard like that unscathed. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. So I cast on with 5mm needles on the 43. I was going to do a 41 for the upper body, in the theory that I'm losing a bit of weight, and a 43 would be fine with a big collar. It would still be a comfy slouchy cardigan, but it might have been better. So I dropped a needle size. It's still coming out about 42, 43 anyway, so whatever. It's fine. I got to the underarm, split for the sleeves, and then changed to the 5.5mm needle for the lower body, knowing that the difference in gauge would mean I wouldn't then have to work out and worry about increases for hippage or other stuff like that. So you can see how far I've got into the body.
I love it.
I ran out mid-row. That is 2 balls of Highland headness.
Wow.
And that's a size 43. Now, there's a caveat to that.
All right, okay.
In that, on the fronts, I didn't want it to be completely open face, and because if you've got a lot of belly or boobage or anything like that, sometimes you want a bit of coverage. And my plan is to make the neckband collar longer so that there's more belly coverage. And then I worked out to do the increases for the fronts. So I've done some front increases every 4 rows until I met the stitch count of the next size up.
Right.
So I've got more width than there would be for a 43 because I'm covering more of the body, but it's still a size 43. So I ended up with 198 stitches, I think it was. So I found out which sizes and which charts corresponded.
Yeah.
I have almost finished chart 3
of
the
chart 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
5? 3 or 4.
You do 4 inches in each chart.
All right.
And I've almost finished chart 3 with 2 balls of yarn.
Can I just ask a little quick question?
Yeah.
When was the last time you knitted somebody else's pattern without changing it?
It would be a test knit. I don't change test knits unless I've agreed in advance. It would be a test knit.
Yeah. I think you're just too. I just don't know how you know to do these things.
I know my body shape and what fits.
But you just blasé like, oh yeah, I'll just add in a bit here for the hip, and I'll just do. I'm like, that is so clever. How do you actually just know off the top of your head to do that?
I know my measurements. That's the starting point. To know your own measurements and where on the body they are. It's not enough to just say upper bust or boobage, whatever. It's upper bust, this many inches from the shoulder line. Bust line, this many inches from. So a bra that fits so that your knockers are not in line with your belly button to the point where people aren't sure which is which. So that kind of thing, and understanding the width of my upper arms, and they're quite a bit narrower down here. So I have to decrease more quickly on the sleeves. I'm not going to, because this is a test knit. I'm just going to follow the pattern, and that's what I do on test knits. But with Yutta's top that I made the other week, I said to her, I need this size for the upper body, but I need this size for the lower body, and it would mean 4 extra increases. Do you want me to make the larger size? Because it's not a problem. I'd have just made the larger size. And she said, no, I want you to have a garment you will wear and love. Exactly. So do the extra increases, but note that you've agreed it as part of the test and include it in your write-up.
Yeah, which is what I was going to say about Vera. Do whatever you need to do with Vera. Give her a slap round the face if you need to. But it just makes my mind boggle how you know how to do this, because like what was I making Fable, and you said, oh, just add some hip shaping, and I'm like, Whoa, no.
Well, and you didn't need it.
But even so, hats off, you're far too clever. That's what it is.
I'm good at knitting maths.
I'm not good
Shopping
at
maths. I'm not really good at Sudoku maths.
Oh, go on.
Or things like that. I mean, they're just a dark art. It's akin to equal, really.
People do that for fun. I don't get it.
My sister-in-law, Joanne, she works at Tesco's in Barrow. She's a supervisor or manager there, depending on what they're calling them. Tesco change your titles every year so that to cheat you out of pay rises.
Yeah.
They're always
and you're probably on a different wage to men, and you can't find out.
Yeah, it's that kind of culture. But Joanne is brilliant at Sudoku puzzles and like countdown, you know, where they do the stupid big number and you have to work it out. I'd be staring at that all week and never get anywhere close. And she can sit with a bit of paper and just go, oh, yeah, that's how you do it. And I'm in absolute awe of my sister-in-law.
My husband's like that. So Helen's with us. She's popped in for 10 minutes before she makes dinner.
Oh, hey, Helen, what's for dinner?
Can we come?
Yeah, what are we having?
Because I just had a bowl of popcorn for my dinner.
I love it if anybody else is cooking.
Oh, yeah.
I did some tandoori salmon the other day with a mango salsa. Oh, that was good.
I know you like your mango.
I love it. Yeah, with good reason. Yeah.
So good for your health.
It is. It's marvelous.
What more do we need to say? It's so good for your health.
Yeah, cleanses all your important little places.
So you got any more whips going? Oh, I know what I was going to ask you before we move on about the campsite thingy. The campsite cat. Do you have to like sign up? Do you have to go onto a thread and say, I am making this? Or do you just
I went into the group and said, oh, I'm joining in with this and here's a progress photo.
Right.
But you just have to use the hashtag campsitecal2020.
On your project page?
On your project page or on Instagram or wherever
you share photos.
Singing your thing. Yeah.
Cool. She did get back to me and she said I can do the test knit.
Awesome. So that's the top.
Yeah, that's the Wyvern kids version. I don't know what she's going to call it because she calls them like mini and like things like that, doesn't she? So I don't know what it's going to actually be called, but she said she'll hopefully get the pattern off to me tomorrow. So I was going to make it for my grandson for his Christmas jumper. But then I was thinking about it and I thought, well, he's 3 now and he'll be 4 in May. So come Christmas, it'll be between the size. So do I want the size 3 or do I want the size 4? Is it going to be too big? Is he going to not get any growth out of it? So what I've decided is I'm going to make it for him straight away and make it as quickly as possible and give it to him at the end of the month when the baby comes as a big brother present.
Good thinking, Batman, because, you know, all that natural sibling rivalry and jealousy and getting your nose pushed out of joint by the arrival of somebody cute that everyone wants to cuddle.
And I've got those
so not fair.
So, you know, and it will be the first time that he's obviously had a little baby. He's got older brother and an older sister, well, half brother and half sister. So he's used to being the little one and the baby and that. So I think it'll be a bit of a shock for him. Yeah, so I'm going to make it for him for that. And Katrina said that his favourite colours are blue and red. So guess what colour I'm going to make it in?
Blue.
Oh, yes. And I'm pretty sure that in the post she put that it calls for Malabriga Rios, which I absolutely love.
It does.
And as my husband would, you know, I haven't asked him and he hasn't volunteered, but I know he would love to buy some Rios for his grandson, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you need to go to Woolstack.
Wool stack, right? Because I looked on Wool Warehouse, it was about £10 something.
Wool stack's cheaper always, unless Wool Warehouse have got a 25% off, which is about once a year. And I've just dropped my ball of yarn, so
right, I'm just going to write that down. You got jumping yarn?
Yes.
Right, I'll have a look on there, because
as opposed to chewed yarn, which I had this morning.
Chewed and hairy yarn. You know, like he obviously, if it, say for example, I don't know how many, but say for example, it needs 2 skeins. I know my husband would love to donate 4, wouldn't he? You know,
I'm sure he would.
He's just that kind of a guy. So I'm going to have a good old look on there for that.
I think there's a colour called Azul Profundo or something like that. It's just an amazing blue.
Oh, I'll have to have a look then. So yeah, so that's you know. Well, what else were you going to show me then?
I was looking and I'm not sure there is anything else. I mean, obviously I was working on my brown thing.
Your brown thing?
Yeah.
That's a technical term for it.
Yeah, in stillness.
Oh, right, okay.
Which obviously I've not touched because I've been working on Vera.
Yeah.
And Campside, which is now at a halt until I can get to the yarn shop.
Which is what, tomorrow?
Probably tomorrow. I'm going to have to take Jake to go and see my mother because it was her birthday on Wednesday, but she was going out for lunch with a friend and then they were doing something in the evening. And then they go shopping on a Thursday, so I kind of had to make an appointment for Friday. You know what it's like. It was one of those, are you not coming through today? I said, is Colin coming through today? Well, Colin's got work. And I said, what do you think I'm doing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. She said, yours is flexible. And I said, and Colin's would be if he wanted it to be, Mum. It's working at home. So just drop that little bomb and let them deal with it. Right, I'm going to count my rows now.
Okay. Helen says she's having pasta and she doesn't have any gluten-free.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, let the side down there, Helen.
Some people, you know, you can fall out with them because they should cater for everyone, really, shouldn't they?
Well, they should, even if we're not actually there. It would just be nice to know.
The part that counts.
Yeah.
Definitely. Michelle's with us. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
She says, both of you are too clever for me knitting-wise. No, I think Loraine is the clever one.
I think smart ass is the word she's looking for. It's she just didn't want to say it.
I wouldn't dare. Wouldn't dare. So I've nearly finished my knickers. Do you want to see?
Go on, show us your knickers. I've been waiting all day to say that.
Get your knickers out, love. Okay, let's have a look. Right, so I don't know if everybody remembers, but a while ago,
knickers in an organza bag, no less.
Posh knickers in this house. I made Edith, didn't I? Do you remember little Edith?
Edith.
Yeah, the ruffles. And I thought, what do you need with a baby dress? Babies always need knickers, don't they? And they should be frilly. So we have a pair of knickers, and look at the bum.
Oh my goodness.
You can't lay the baby on them. It's like, actually, it's not that bad. I thought it'd be
well, you could, but it might have acid reflux.
Well, actually, it doesn't feel that bad, actually. And I think once you've got your nappy on. So, so I've just got to sew the ruffles to the seam now.
Right.
I've got my my loose bits all hanging off. So I've got to do that. And then I suppose I should do something around the leg, but I don't know, it doesn't look that bad really. But I suppose I should really put a couple of rows of twisted rib. So there's my front of my knickers. These are the little size, little titchy. I think these are the newborns.
Right.
So it took me hours to work out the maths.
For the ruffles?
No, for the legs, for all the sizes, for the decreases, to know how big I wanted the gusset and everything.
Ah, right, yeah.
And the rise. Rise is a new word to me.
It's a very important one.
The rise is a very, very important word, and I don't think I'd ever come across it in any of my previous patterns that I'd written before.
If you were a sewer, you'd be familiar with it for jeans and trousers.
I mean, obviously I'd heard of it, and you know, I'd bought low-rise jeans before, but I didn't know exactly how to measure it until now. And now I know that a newborn's rise is 14 centimeters apparently.
Oh, okay. See, I work in inches and then translate it to centimeters.
I'm a centimeter girl. So I think, what do we think? Do we think that I'd look like a nice little outfit?
Oh, it's lovely.
Cutie. So
you might have to weave those ends in. It does look like one of my FOs. Just
they actually need sewing to the ruffles need attaching to the seam.
Right.
With both ends. So I left them a little bit longer on purpose to give me something to work with. And then I do need to pick up the leg thingy, put a bit of only a couple of rows of rib around the legs.
Right.
And then that'll be done. So I don't know if anybody's interested in test knitting, but hopefully I'll be putting that test knit and my trolleys test knit up.
Your trolleys?
My trolleys will be up hopefully this weekend, maybe tomorrow, maybe over the weekend.
Oh, Helen says she can adjust sewing but not knitting. It's a similar principle. It's just a little bit of maths, but obviously you don't have a curve thing.
Helen will know all about the rise.
Really know. Yeah, she'll know all about the rise.
Yeah, low rise.
So what you're having with the pasta, even if it's not gluten free, what's the sauce? Tomato based, cheese based? You know, if we're going to get envious, we need the full skinny. Which is
one of the few things that I can have when I go out for dinner. Tends to be the gluten-free pasta arrabbiata. I do love pasta arrabbiata. Just saying, Helen, you know, but no pressure. How many rows you got?
I think I've done 17.
Okay, do I keep putting you off? And I've just got a new one that I've just cast on this afternoon, but I don't know if I'll be able to work on it right now. Oh, in my bag, Kelly Connor bag. Woo-hoo. Do you like that one? It's cute, isn't it?
Sorry, I'll have to swap screen. Show me again. Oh yeah,
it's cute, that bag. Just big enough for a little baby project.
It's just nice.
It's going to be a raglan top.
Okay, so this is sounding really good. Tomato, mascarpone, and nduja, is that, or nduja sausage? Nduja,
like a spicy sausage.
Yeah, it sounds spicy. Tomato and mascarpone, so it's tomatoey and cheesy.
Which,
yeah,
I would love if I could.
With spicy sausage, so it's like the trinity of evil goodness.
Neither of us can have that, can we?
See, I had, because at Aldi, when I went the other day, they had some more of the slow-cooked barbecue pork fillet. Mm-hmm. So I bought a couple more of those, and I've cooked one of them last night in the oven, and then shredded the pork, because it's pulled pork with a sauce, essentially. I had some for my dinner last night, and then I got some of those New York Bagel Company, there was a gluten-free seeded bagel, which I got, which was a healthy extra with Slimming World, and I piled that with pulled pork and tomatoes and cucumber. I had that for my breakfast.
That sounds really good.
And I had lentil soup for lunch, then I had pulled pork for dinner just to finish it off. Half the sin a portion, so you know, could eat that thing and it wouldn't be any bother at all. And I had that with new potatoes and a pile of veggies and a bit of salad.
Sounds lovely.
It was.
That was one of the things I didn't like about that noom. It'd give you wholemeal bread was an orange, a yellow, whatever you want to call it. But if you had seeded bread, it was a red.
We have to be really careful with seeded bread in this house because Jake is subjected to random drug tests, and I can't have any seeds.
I do love. I've got a seeded gluten-free loaf, and I absolutely love it. I always thought it was better for you.
What, a seeded loaf? Well, yeah, it is, absolutely.
So why is Noom saying it's a red? It's rude.
Oh, I don't know. Helen says it's a spicy, soft sausage and very good. She didn't make it. It came from Pasta Evangelists.
Oh, who's that?
Who are they? Is this an online thing? It sounds really good to me. Is
that a bit like Gusto?
Or like Hello Fresh or whatever, where you kind of deliver your meal in a box.
I looked into those, and yet again, I can't eat half the stuff, and they don't have special dietary requirement things.
No, they don't. That's why I've never bothered.
Yeah, not fair. Oh well. We're going to be happy tonight. We're not going to be down tonight, are we?
No, not at all.
I haven't got any alcohol, so I can't be down, and I can't get on my soapbox.
Can't get all ranty.
No, don't let me get ranty.
So how do we feel about the rude lady who had the audacity to imply that Emma's got nothing better to do than make a cow for a cow?
Yes. I was just really insulted.
It's unbelievably cheeky that she thinks you've got knack all going on in your life.
It was I thought I'd give you the chance to make something comment that really got to me.
Yeah, it's a bit snide, isn't it? Helen says everything but the pasta comes, so that's good then. So you get to choose your favourite pasta shape. Do you have a favourite pasta shape? Because I just like.
No. If you're a proper Italian, you choose your pasta shape based on the kind of sauce that you're having.
Well, I'm not a proper Italian. I'm just a pig.
Go bunny. Have you had the adverts?
I have, yeah. And
it's
I'm
really
still
annoying.
just a pig.
I do like pasta.
It is
lovely. It's filling.
It is good.
Nothing like a bit of pasta.
So I'm quite liking how this lavender yarn is knitting up. I'll finish this row and then I'll give you a quick sneaky peek.
See, that's the best bit. When I made Vera, I just flew through the sleeves because it's exciting to see how it comes up, and especially if you are using lots of different scraps and each one's different.
Well, that was the plan up until this morning, for those who don't know, because I think I've only told Emma. Labradors during the night had been onto my sofa, laid on top of a number of my projects, despite having a brand new clean duvet in their bed, and stolen the 2 tiny bits of leftover yarn that I was going to start the sleeves. So it's been dragged all around the floor. It's all tangled instead of in 2 neatly wound little balls. And it's full of dog hair.
It's shocking.
Oh, and dog snot and slobber, and the rabid excitement of stealing something that's not yours and parading around the house with it like some sort of weird prize.
Yeah, Arthur likes a prize. You always say, have you got a prize there?
Yeah, well, they've had the shunning treatment today.
Did they know that they've been shunned? Did they realise?
I won't pet them today.
And they didn't get any of your blueberries either?
No, they haven't had any leftovers or anything else off me today. It's gone in the bin. And I've been very pointed with it. They've been asleep round my feet this afternoon, desperate.
They're trying to say sorry.
But I won't pet them. Tomorrow I will. But they need to learn, and I'm not prepared to smack them.
No.
And their mother would shun them.
Yeah.
After she'd bitten them.
Yeah.
I kind of draw the line at that. It's a gob full of dirty fur.
Someone said to me once, like, when they're puppies, if they bite you, you're supposed to bite them back because that's what their mum will do.
Yes.
Or if you don't actually want to bite them, you can like get your hand and nip them with your hand as if you've bitten them.
Yeah, I've bitten them when they were little.
Yeah. Shh, don't tell anyone that.
No, a little nip, not a draw blood bite, but a little nip to let them know.
Not a cling on for dear life.
I didn't draw blood. It wasn't that time of the month.
Your magnesium was topped up all right, was it?
Yeah. Had it been another time of the month, I can't say that it would have been the same outcome. But
well, no.
Just being honest.
You got to be honest.
Yeah.
It's fine. My sister used to have issues with certain times of the month until she got put on hormones by the doctor. No. I think she even pulled a knife on her husband once.
Well, you know, sometimes they're just asking for it. No, seriously, hormones can really play havoc with your mental health. And it's not the best thing to pull a knife on your partner.
Well, you know, there's obviously something going on if you end up doing that. You know, after the conversation in the after party, Mitta girl saying about her husband.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what's wrong with the woman next door but one.
That her husband's at home all the time.
Yeah, because he was semi-retired before, and I'm assuming that maybe he's possibly fully retired since all this has happened, or
yeah,
you know,
really driving her nuts. So
yeah, and that could be what the problem is, and so she's just taking it out on me.
I think that's why my dad still works in his 70s. I think he can hide in the office, aka spare room, away from my mother.
He needs a shed.
There's nowhere to put one where they live.
I thought all men liked to shed.
And to be fair, he'd spend most of the year living in it.
My father-in-law had a shed. He loved his shed.
Yeah, Jake's dad always had a man shed.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
He loved it out there. I hated it. I'm much more an indoor and comfy person.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, but out of the two of you, you know, it's always best to send them out into the cold weather and you get the indoors. It's fine.
Well, and he didn't feel the cold.
My husband's exactly the same. If we ever get a shed in our garden, you know, he can have the shed and I'll have this spare room. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
Apparently my stepdaughter, her husband, her 3-year-old son and the baby are all going to come and stay in this spare room.
Are they?
Apparently so.
When's that?
Well, at some point, but I mean, at the end of the day, there is literally what you can see is pretty much the room. There's a small double bed. It's not even a full-size double bed. It's a small one. There is literally a TV in front of a window just there. There's a junk corner and there's a desk. And that is it. I mean, how can you get 4 people sleeping in this one room? It can't be comfortable. Exactly.
Just saying.
And I will be doing, hang on, see if it comes up with anything. Oh, it doesn't like that. It's not so fun when you have to wait for it, is it?
No. You could say that of lots of things.
I'd be that. Did you see that?
I did.
I mean, my husband laughs at me. I love my family. I love visitors. I love seeing people, but I love when they go home.
Yeah, there was something on Facebook earlier. I think Luana might have posted it, and it was a quote from an interview with what's his name, Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter.
Ah, yeah.
And he's saying about the thing about being an introvert is you ask me to go, and I might really want to go, but I don't want to go, so I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
But I want to go, but I don't want to be there and stay there. And when you come to visit, I love that you're there, and I enjoy that you're there. And however much I love you, I can't wait for you to go home.
That is exactly me.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel.
Because my husband blames this whole lockdown on me, you know. Because
well, I did ask the universe to not make me go to any more meetings this year. So I do have to shoulder a small amount of the blame here. Obviously, it chose to poison the world. That wasn't me.
Yeah, we just wanted an event. We didn't actually specify what the event had to be. But my stepdaughter, bless her, she was supposed to come up at April to see her dad when he was home. And I tried to convince her to only come up for a couple of days and that we could then go back down to Portsmouth with her so that I could see all my family as well. But no, she was insistent. She was staying up here for a full week, a full 7 days. 7 days.
Well, you just have to make it as awkward as possible.
Well, you know, there was a lockdown and she couldn't come in the end, but you know, I wasn't happy about that at all. Not at all.
Have you ordered the itching powder for the bedding?
No, unfortunately.
Just a suggestion.
It is. It's a really good suggestion.
You're really thinking about it. We know that you're Googling that on your phone.
I am. No. I'm not knitting at all. I'm Googling. I'm picking up knickers. This is really difficult.
Are you ruffling?
No, I'm just doing a cuff around the knicker leg bit.
Oh, the elasticy legs.
Yeah. And it's more difficult than you would think, actually.
So what's everybody else making? Michelle, what's happened with the jumper of doom? And how are you getting on with Fable? And where's the progress photographs? Why haven't I seen it?
I think she had the jumper of doom, she had Fable, which she did start but then pulled out. And then that other one, what was the other one? Homegrown. Come on, Michelle, we need updates.
Yeah, what's happening with all of this? Because you know I'd never have more than 3 things on the go at once. So I'm just looking upwards to see if there's any lightning heading in my direction so I can run. I've probably got about 30 wicks around the house, maybe 40.
Did you ever finish all those blankets you started at the beginning of lockdown?
Finished as far as had enough. The autumn one is there.
Right.
The other one is over by the window and it's got about 20 ends to weave in, not much.
Right.
Most of the ends are woven in. I don't know if I'm going to do a border. I haven't decided yet. But I've been using it by the front window for a photography backdrop because it corrects the colour. With it being a multicoloured thing, it stops the colour from being too grey or too blue or whatever on camera phone. Yeah.
Because that's what they do. Cameras do whatever they feel like, don't they?
Well, they're set to treat everything as grey, so it's not really their fault. It's up to us to learn the tricks to teach them otherwise.
Can you do that on an iPhone, though? Because I didn't know you could change all your settings on that.
You can certainly change a lot of them, yeah.
All right. Oh, well, there you go. See, I never knew that. I just point and click it.
Yeah, we call that point, press, pray.
Yeah. I could put a filter on. Filters can hide a multitude of sins.
They can, yeah. There's a girl on Facebook who's the daughter of somebody that I know, and she does this unique makeup, which I've tried, and it's okay, but bloody hell, it's expensive because it's a pyramid scheme. Sorry, multi-level marketing, we have to call it now. It's a pyramid scheme. But anyway, she does that, and she's always using these Instagram filters on her face because she's clearly got acne. But then she'll say, oh, how beautiful do I look with my, you know, velvet touch foundation or whatever it's called. And I'm thinking, that's nothing to do with the foundation. We can't even tell what colour it is on your face because you are filtered up the wazoo.
That's wrong, really, isn't it? That,
well, she's young and she doesn't know any better. But if I were her mother, I'd be having a word with her over it and just saying, you know, you're still beautiful even if you've got a couple of spots. And you could do a tutorial on how to hide the spots rather than using filters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because not
Or
anyone.
the other thing is, you could go to the doctor and ask to have something done about it.
Well, yeah.
I took Callum. Caitlin refuses to go.
Right.
But Callum went on antibiotics and stuff and got cured.
Very good.
So, yeah. The dog's just prowling around tonight.
Well, no, you've got popcorn.
No, he's eating it all. There's no popcorn left. He's just followed Caitlin down the stairs. She's obviously going to get food. He thinks he might get some.
Yeah, Jake said earlier, he said, Rosie and I are going shopping. Do you want anything? Text me. So I messaged him.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was some just cheap dog biscuits. So he gets home and these two are instantly up. You know, it's Jake. He's home. What's he brought us?
Yeah.
You get the dog biscuits. I want to just check my messages.
Oh, for goodness.
What was the point of taking the phone?
What was the point of telling you to text him? Like, if he knew that you were going to text, shouldn't he have checked his phone at the shop?
Oh, and you didn't hear the exciting news, which Emma knows. I picked Jake up from college on, was it Tuesday night? I think it was Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And I looked down the road and I thought, oh, there's a couple of blokes on bikes. Why is there a black van there? Thought no more of it. Jake gets into the car and we're just about to turn round at the sort of turning bit. And he went, it's them! What? It's the hairy bikers. Next thing, the car doors open and then he's going, oh, no, I can't interrupt them. That would just be rude. And I said, the celebrities, they're public figures.
Yeah.
If you approach them and shout ahead and say, do you mind if I take a socially distanced photograph? Is that okay? Before you get close.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be fine. And they went, hiya, mate, how you doing? Have you had a good day? Stood and posed for a photograph. Really nice to him. And off he came back to the car, absolutely chuffed to bits. My mother, of course, is insanely jealous because she absolutely adores the hair bikers, got every cookbook, watched every series.
Has she got a favourite?
I don't know that she does have a favourite. For me, I like them both, but Dave Myers, of course, is a Barrow lad, which is where Jake was born, and he's just down the road from me, and I've lived here for years, so he's part of the furniture here. He used to live on one of the little islands. And if you buy one of the houses on the island, you're the king of the island, Row Island.
Oh, I want to be king of an island.
He's moved across to France now, bless him.
So he can be in
the blame him, you know, to be honest, with the chaos.
I'd love to live in France. Nice rural place somewhere.
Yeah, but it was nice to see them. They'd been to the bakery next to the college, which is a little local firm. So they're obviously doing sort of a local heroes kind of feature. And then they turned right at the lights, heading back into Barrow as we were heading left. So I'm assuming at the next roundabout they'll have taken another right because Simon has a friend over on, I think it's on Walney, Lil, who's got one of the Thai takeaways and he's a big mate of his and has got a massive conservatory, and you'll have seen her on his programmes where she has all her friends round and she cooks a banquet. And
well, I never thought, what do you mean you assume? You should have followed.
Well, we were going home and I wanted my dinner.
Hairy bikers? Follow.
No. That's just a bit stalkery and a bit, you know. We've talked about this kind of behaviour. Do you remember?
Oh, I can't help it.
So, yeah, I mean, they are absolutely lovely and they were really friendly. Jake's got a photograph. I will try and get a copy of the photograph.
Cool.
Post it in the after party.
Yeah,
really lovely to see them, and I'm glad that they're still filming and out and about.
Yeah, it's nice to see things starting to get, you know, going again.
I mean, obviously they wouldn't let anybody actually close to them. Oh,
Yeah.
somebody sussed you out. Helen says you're a stalker.
Well, I can be. You know, it depends how much I like somebody.
Okay, so we've got a progress report from Michelle. Onto the sleeves with the jumper of doom. Well done. Fable has bit the dust for now. That's fine. You can always pick it up again. Homegrown sat quietly in the corner doing nothing. Sometimes a whip has to be put into the corner to consider its bad behaviour.
Nothing in the naughty corner for a while.
Yeah, and when it's changed its attitude and is ready to be worked on and cooperate a bit more, you can pick it up. Now, Helen's been ordering some yarn, haven't you? We saw the most gorgeous picture in the after party earlier today. It's a stunning gradient.
Is it for me? Is she going to send it to me?
You don't like pink.
Oh, okay. I'm sure I could use it though.
No.
What's it going to be?
I think it'll be a shawl.
Oh.
I'm certain it'll be a shawl because she loves her shawls.
I am feeling the itch to knit a shawl actually at the moment. But I must get on with baby stuff really, to be honest.
I'll get these patterns out. I've just put a post on the blog, was it yesterday or today, about the value of test knitters.
Oh yeah.
They add to a pattern and how they differ from just using a technical editor.
Yeah.
So I've put in an example, and one of the ones that I used is that the expression that the tech editor looked at was it was something like decrease 1 stitch at neck edge on the following 2 4th rows.
Okay. Yeah.
So work 3 rows, decrease at neck edge on the 4th, work 3 rows, decrease neck edge on the 4th, 2 stitches, decreases, 8 rows, worked.
Yeah.
But 3 of the testers were struggling to understand that. I think because the number 2 is very close to the 4th or 4th
yeah.
And if you're dyslexic or anything like that, it's really hard to pick up. So I asked them what wording they'd be happier with. So we went with decrease at neck edge on the 4th row 2 times. And wrote out 2 TWO times.
Yeah.
I bet you that's my mother phoning.
Oh, I could hear your phone.
Oh no, it's Roger whose meeting I didn't go to last night. So.
Oh right. The other thing is as well, I don't know if you ever do that, but if you're reading somebody else's knitting pattern, you can just sail through it and either read it as it's supposed to be and have no problem with it, or you can sometimes read what you would have put rather than what you have put. Read what you think is there rather than what actually is there.
Yeah, and things like when you put stitches on hold for the centre neck and you're going to knit what would be the right front when warm, but the left front as you're looking at your knitting.
Yeah.
And sort of explaining that to them. They're saying, well, where do I join the yarn? Well, you've just put the neck stitches on hold and you're about to start that front. And you've already knitted the other front. So there is only one place where you can actually join.
Yeah.
But I've still had to put an explanation in there. The tech editor will argue it that, well, why have you put that? Because it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
But if it saves one person from being confused and sending me 10 emails to explain it, I'd rather put the wording in now.
Oh, yeah.
So where I described something as the right front, while we're knitting it, it's the right front as we're looking at it because it's the bib of the dress.
Right.
It's actually the left front when it's worn. If it were a cardigan that was knitted in one piece and then split for fronts and backs. See you later. Are you back tonight? Okay.
Have fun.
Yeah, just gone.
Cool. I think that sometimes knitters just see things completely different to tech editors. Do you remember my tech editor once had she kept telling me that my pattern was completely wrong.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, no, it's right. The test knitters have come back and they've said it's fine. They've had no issues with it. She got her needles out, knitted it, and then went, oh yeah, I can see now. So it is a difference definitely between reading and knitting.
There is, and I think the other thing is the technical editor's job is to work to a style sheet and a way of expressing a phrase. Yeah. So using 4mm needles and MC yarn cast on X stitches using whatever method.
Yeah.
Cast on or whatever. And that's part of the tech editor's job. It's working to that way of phrasing it, because you could say with MC yarn and 4mm needles, cast on X number of stitches in any method you like.
Yeah.
But I use the cable cast on because it's stretchy and it's this and it's that. So it's working to your style and how you express yourself. And they don't necessarily always pick up on every error either.
No.
You're checking a lot of things in usually a short period of time, generally with a deadline.
Yeah.
So they'll help you polish it and make it more consistent. But I do think that the place for test knitters is much more important in some cases.
Yeah.
Because then you know whether you've explained it in a way that's actually going to work out in the wild.
And are you going to get lots of requests for support via email?
Well, this is it. And the wording that I'd used was perfectly correct.
Yeah.
And as the tech editor said, it's the most shorthand and efficient way to do it. And it's the standard way that most of the big yarn companies would express it.
Yeah.
But that's because they're trying to use as little paper as possible, whereas I'm trying to do the best pattern possible.
The other difference is knitters from around the world.
Yeah.
You know, like your English is not my English.
Yeah,
and the
very much so.
Pattern is written. It's not the same as an American knitting pattern would be written.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got to the stage with some of the neck instructions, I am debating about writing it out line by line.
Right.
Because for me, that might just be easier than trying to get them to look for seconds, fourths, thirds, or whatever. And on one of them it said, what did it say? Something like, was it decrease at neck edge on next row and following right side row? Okay.
Right.
So to me that says your next row is a right side row, decrease. It said decrease in pattern on neck edge in next and following right side row.
Yeah.
So that's your next row is your next side row, decrease at neck edge, do a right side row,
and then do it again.
And then do the decrease again.
Yeah.
But the number of people that queried that and went, am I doing it every third row? Well, where did the 3 come into it? There isn't a 3 anywhere.
No, not at all.
It wasn't anywhere, even in the same line. So I was quite baffled with that. So I think I probably need to line by line it. Helen saying absolutely always need to, test knitters. Tech editors proofreading and checking numbers, absolutely, and they don't always get that right. So
the problem is
they're human like everybody else, and their brain, just like ours, sees what it wants to see.
You know, it's like Stanhope, and again with Vera, I've really struggled to find test knitters.
Yeah.
So you try your best, but you can only do what you can do. Oh, look, that's gorgeous. I love that camel colour.
Yeah, I really like that. I've got a beigey colour that's very, very similar in the same yarn.
Right.
I'm tempted to use that for the cuffs.
Cool. Sounds lovely.
Yeah, I don't know.
this pattern for my knickers, there's an increase in it, which I actually found easier to write out. Right, for the newborn size, do this row. For not to do this for 3 to 6, and I found it easier to do that rather than lots of different numbers and brackets, and it was just too much. And I thought,
I frequently do that in my patterns where we break off, and I'll say, right, for size 1,
yeah,
the raglans are like this, and size 2 they're like that, because it's just clearer, and you just mark out the bit that you're following and you're not worrying about anyone else's numbers.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes for more printing, but a lot of them put stuff onto iPads and Kindles anyway and don't print them out.
Yeah, Knit Companion and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, the end game is that we get a pattern that's more workable and more readable. And every change that I've made, I've gone back into the test thread on the little dress and just said, how about this wording? Or said, look, what wording would you like to see? And then we've agreed something. If anyone else had queried it, I've got them involved in the discussion, and we've gone ahead with, yeah, is everyone happy with that? And for all it's not a democracy, it does need to be that as many people understand it as possible.
Yeah.
Helen's saying, are they both garments, Emma? They're both sweaters, Helen, and they're knitted with sock yarn.
Yeah. 4-ply. But surprisingly quick knit for a 4-ply.
Well, it's 3.75mm needles, so it's actually no more effort than a double knit garment. And it's nice, super lightweight. It's unbelievably lightweight. And I can't remember if I've used 2 balls getting to the underarms on this. And I have no idea how much I'll use for the sleeve. I'm probably going to have to order another ball of this colour for the other sleeve. For the other sleeve.
Oh, right, yeah, no.
That's quite an undertaking for testing. A garment, yeah, but generally you allow longer time, and actually a lot of people just do garment testing.
Yeah.
If that's your bag, somebody like Vera knits, Gunhilda, I mean, she tests for Isabel Kramer, Georgie Locatelli, Stackett Hadder, Honey. Hadder, what's the name where you bought that yarn, the yak yarn? Hadder knits, because I can't say her surname. So she'll test for a lot of those people, and she's always got 2, 3, sometimes 4 test garments on her needles. She just knits sweaters and cardigans and things like that, and the occasional shawl.
And so again, go back to the plus size thing again, and you put the sizes in for the bigger bust size, and you find it difficult to get anyone to actually test them.
Yeah, it's really bad. It is hard work, anything above a 52 chest. And I've struggled. I did get one lady to do a 58 in the modular cardigan, and she would send me a photograph, but she wouldn't allow me to add it to the pattern or to Ravelry. She didn't want anyone to see it. And that's really sad.
Yeah.
Oh, Helen says she's happy to read for a sense check, but she can't knit garments in less than years. Well, at least you're honest, Helen.
Hey, you know, we like the honesty.
Yeah.
It depends. I mean, I knit. How long did it take me to do Fable? About a week.
Yeah.
I think it just depends if you get a good run at it, and if it's a pattern that you're enjoying and you can't wait to wear it.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be a bitch now. It was an unnaturally small size.
It wasn't the smallest size, though.
No, Emma's beautiful figure meant that she could make the size 36 bust.
I'm still officially overweight, you know.
Yeah, according to BMI, and we know what a crock of crap that is.
Well, my jeans didn't fit me, so I've had to order new ones this week. I've got the COVID 10, and
Never mind.
I've been so exhausted. I didn't run last week. All I did was ran on Sunday, and then I haven't ran at all so far this week.
Mike says he's really struggling even to go for a walk.
Is he?
As he comes back and he's absolutely breathless.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been walking the dog in the morning, coming home, going back to bed and going to sleep for a couple of hours.
Well, I think he's had COVID by the sound of his symptoms.
Right. I don't think I have. I don't think mine's COVID. I think mine might be to do with my food, to be perfectly honest.
It will do. If I eat wheat or drink lager,
yeah.
I used to run quite a lot. I used to do a 5K sort of 6-7 times a week round the town every day. Not fast, but I could do it. I went to the pub one night and the wine was ridiculously expensive and it was like monkey vinegar. It was disgusting. So he said, "Do you want a lager?" So I had a lager, and he wanted to go to the other pub in the village, which is now the only one that's actually, well, it's not open at the moment because of COVID, but it will be open at the end of the month. The other one shut down because it wasn't well serviced enough, and the guy used to shut on any evening where there was anything good on telly.
All right,
you can tell what kind of pub that was. He wasn't interested. But we jogged home from there, and I said, "Oh, just chuck me the keys. I'll run back to the house and get your wallet." Because the rule in our house is if you want me to go out and drink, which to me is just pissing money against the wall, I apologise. But that's what it is to me. I spent my teens in a pub and it's work and it's not a place I like to be. It's not social. It feels like work. And £5 or £6 for a glass of rancid wine when I can have a whole bottle of Prosecco at home and drink it myself in my own company while I knit is just so much nicer for me. So give me the keys, I'll go home and get your wallet, because I always say to him, if you want to go to the pub, you're paying. Yeah. We're not wasting my money.
Too right.
So I set off to jog back to the house. Now, generally speaking, I will be able to do that in a couple of minutes and be back again. I could barely run to the end of the road once I'd had the lager. It was like kryptonite.
I can't drink lager anymore. I used to love a glass of wife beater.
Oh, you're partial to wife beater. That would explain the aggression towards the neighbour.
Yeah, I was partial to that. I haven't had it in years.
The wife beater?
Yeah, the wife beater. I haven't had any of it in years.
Well, or anything else this year.
No, nothing this year. I tell you, it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year either.
Well, I know that feeling.
Look at that. Can you see that?
No, I'm going to swap screen just a second. Oh, yeah.
I have a leg.
Cutie booty.
I just did 3 rows. Just a little one. I've got to do the other leg now.
Put a note to them that the cast off needs to be nice and loose because you don't want grippy on chubby legs.
Chub chub. Chub chub. I need a rethink of my mum's jumper.
Because
well, because the yarn is the wrong yarn. Because the one that I've got is bellissima, which is 22 stitches, and the pattern calls for 18 stitches. And
it does, but it calls for a DK yarn.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get 18 stitches. I just don't think I am. And I
could only get it with 5.5mm needles.
Right. I don't know. I might swatch it at 5.5 and see how I feel, but I can't go up a size because I'll have to be making the biggest size anyway.
Yeah, and then you'll use more yarn, which you may have.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's bellissima, so worst case scenario, I run out, I can easily get some more. It's not a major problem.
Yeah, and let's be honest, even though it has dye lots, there's no difference from one batch to the next with the Starcraft acrylic. There just isn't. They're brilliant in terms of matching.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'll swatch it and see how I feel, but I do think I'm going to need something else, a different top, which is good though, because that just means more patterns.
Well, I know, you've got to look on the bright side.
Well, you know, you've always got to look on the bright side, haven't you?
The sun is hitting the centre of the Venetian blinds, and that's just hitting me straight on the face. I'm going to hunch down over here.
I did have a look, a little quick look. I'll show you these. These are 3 that I came up with, that because that's the other difficulty. It's the size. Not all of them went up to the right size that I needed.
Yeah.
So what do we think of these 3?
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning on the plus size topic that Isabel Kramer usually has 30 to 40 projects in test per test for a garment, right?
Cool.
Now, she still struggles to get testers for sizes 6 through 9. So that's sort of 52 inches upwards. So while people make a lot of noise about size inclusive,
yeah,
you need to get out there and start testing and actually helping out.
Yeah. So what do you reckon to those?
Edgar Town Light would work well. Is that a DK?
Yeah, they're all 3 of them are DKs. That's an Alicia, isn't it?
It is.
And I could just shorten. She wants short sleeves, but I can just shorten them. She did ask for a round neck rather than a V neck, but I don't think
that's totally doable. You could.
Yeah, I don't think that's too much of a V neck anyway. Really, do you know what I mean? It's not like your traditional V neck with the ribbon. I think that's got a what do you call it? I-cord finish.
Right.
And I do like that one.
See, I'm not feeling that at all.
Do you not like that?
Isn't that funny? I don't like the neck. I don't like the fit of the shoulders.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it looks like it's sat on top of her and somebody's folded that neck back. It doesn't fit.
Do you think that's an issue with the
Can we have a look at the second photograph down? Why am I pointing at it?
I do that.
Yeah.
See, it's sitting up here, isn't it?
It's rolled over and there's a rib below it which is standing up, which means there's too many stitches on the rib or on the stockinette above it. It's not laying flat.
That one looks better.
No, it doesn't, because if you zoom in at the neck, that is bubbling. Look at the ridge that's created with that rib.
Won't let me zoom in anymore. Yeah, but I still think it looks a bit better than the last one.
Marginally. Doesn't fit. I'm sorry, it's controversial, but no.
And then I like this one, but it's a drops.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a pig of a pattern, isn't it? You just know.
So, yeah.
And you'll have to redo the charts yourself.
Yeah.
It is very pretty though, and what a lovely colour.
And the pink I've got's almost like that anyway.
All right. Yeah, I think Edgar Downlight is the winner for me. What does everybody else think? Because I'm just gobbing off about the neckline. You might all think I'm an idiot.
Well, if anyone's got any other suggestions, I'm open to.
Oh, Michelle likes Edgar Townlight.
Oh, hang on. What happened there?
I don't know. What have you done?
Nothing. It's fine. I'm back.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm open to suggestions because I will swatch because I still really like the campside, and I think if the fabric's nice and I quite like it, I'll still go with that. But I do need a backup.
Yeah, I mean, where is it? It's here. You can see the difference in the stitch gauge at the top.
Yeah.
Versus lower down where it's on the 5.5mm needle. It's much looser. But because of the eyelet pattern, it's only like a shawl and it works.
Hmm.
Does it just work? It wants blocking, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Which for an acrylic yarn like that is code for weave in all the ends, do your borders and your bands having roughly shaped it to make sure that everything's straight and fits. Finish it off, add your buttons and wang it in the washing machine and then pull it out, pull it to shape and hang it up to dry.
Yeah.
That's what blocking acrylic gets in my house. It's called the washing machine.
Yeah. And to be fair, quite a lot of the time as well, things that aren't even acrylic, some of the walls and stuff, I put them in the machine just on the rinse cycle.
Yeah,
I just
good idea.
I literally get 5 minutes, a little bit of a rinse, not even a proper spin.
Yeah.
And then they're done.
Oh, it's good. I think towel night would work well.
Yeah.
But it'd be a shame not to do campsite, but then you really want to do campsite for yourself. So you
do want to do campsite for myself, but I was quite happy to do two. I also accidentally bought campsite cardi as well as campsite pullover.
It's a nice pattern. I did the raglans differently because she does knit front and back either side of the marker, and I don't like the wibbly bumpy bits. So I did knit to one before marker, M1, knit one, slip marker, knit one, M1. I did it that way.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's neater, but that's personal preference. And if I was showing off, I might have even slipped a cable in between the markers just for something different. That is the Highland Heathers, isn't it? Which colourway is that, Emma?
This is the one, moss one that I'm considering making the campsite in for me.
Right, yeah.
If I like
colour.
Again, it's the same issue, isn't it? It's the 22 stitches as opposed to 18. I went through everything that I could get my hands on in my house. I have nothing that says that it would knit up as an 18 on the ball band.
The only thing you'll find is an Aran, because it's a gauge for an Aran weight, but she uses double knit to make a lighter cardigan. So you either have to make the decision to live with the looser gauge, which is how she designed it, or have to make a size larger and drop a single size. With the Highland Heathers and 5mm, I was getting a double knit gauge, 20 to 22 stitches.
Yeah.
With the 5.5mm, I could get the 18 by 24, but I couldn't with any smaller needle than that. So I did the upper body with the 5mm, knitted the 43, even though I really wanted the 41. And then did some extra front increases to take me up to the width I wanted. So I picked a larger size in its stitch count and just added stitches in the fronts only.
Yeah.
While I was doing the raglan shaping. And that's worked out really well. And I have to say, as a pattern, I know people have complained they don't like the transition of the charts because they're a little bit weird at times. But it's actually quite a complex thing to achieve. And if you just knit it exactly as it's written, it works. Just do it. Don't be so anal about it. Just do it.
It's when everyone isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and I could have spent half a day looking at all the charts and seeing if I could have lined it up any better. And I might have been able to do it. But then I might have just wasted half a day. And at the end of the day, Alicia and her tech editor both looked at this. And it's not just the original pattern. It was tech edited to expand the sizing last year or the year before. So it's had 2 doses of looking at and nobody's come up with a neater way to do it. So just knit it. And I think that's a beautiful cardigan.
I think it's gorgeous. I can't wait to see it on you.
And you look at the transitions and think, oh, that's a bit weird. Because I'm certainly not looking at it and finding fault with it. You can see where the change is if you really look.
I'm thinking that if you'd have had enough wool, you'd have finished that already.
Yeah, I would. I'd have finished the body, certainly. We would now be arguing about sleeves.
Okay. What length sleeve are you going to
do? At least 3/4.
Okay.
I don't want a short sleeve for it. I want to be able to wear it And we get cooler weather more than we get warm weather here, don't we?
I can understand a short sleeve tee. I can't quite get my head around a short sleeve cardigan.
Well, yeah, and I like a 3/4 sleeve because I've always got my hands in something.
Yeah.
And if it's a poofy or a big or a floppy sleeve, I'd be wrapped around the door handles. I'd be caught on everything I walked past.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a klutz. I'm dead clumsy. It's nothing to do with the design, the pattern, or anything else. It's just better for me if it's a long, slim sleeve that fits my arm. And then I will be knitting this as per the pattern. I may add a small number of hip increases towards the lower body, but that'd be it.
Go for it.
Or I did debate about whether at some point I should just swap to a 4mm needle for the lower body, and that little change in gauge.
Oh yeah,
might do some of the work, but I don't know, because then I'll still have to go back to a smaller needle for the ribbing, won't I?
You could cross that bridge when you come to it, as they say.
Yeah, so that's how far I got with the sleeve.
I do love that.
I'd only done about, I don't know, 4 or 5 rows before we came on air tonight, so.
You're doing well.
Yeah, and it is meant to be worked in the round, so.
It's whatever you like to do, though, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Well, it just works for me, and I like the structure of a seam on a sleeve, because I think it helps give it durability, particularly the underarm area, where I'm doing this all night, moving, you know, not as much as that, but my cardigan is moving every time I knit a stitch, and it is wear and tear.
Yeah.
And I just like the stability of seams. But with a yarn like this, where it's designed for smaller pieces, and they've done a lot of baby patterns with it, and shawls and accessories and things like that, I think it actually benefits from you working back and forth to be able to show the Fair Isle sort of 4-aisle patterning of the yarn.
That's the other thing, it'll be different than if you've knitted it in the round, why not? That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've done this with sleeves before, where I've changed from working in the round to working flat, or I've worked one in the round and the other flat. And even if it's the same ball of yarn and the same pattern, it comes out differently.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
think I'm at another decrease.
Oh, exciting.
Oh, I am.
Yay. Decrease it down. So what did I watch? Oh, I watched Knives Out yesterday, didn't I?
Oh, what did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. I loved the Hamilton reference right near the beginning.
Yes. I thought you'd enjoy that, but my favourite bit is at the end, where Jamie Lee Curtis pulls out that piece of paper, the letter from her father.
Yeah.
And she's having a sly cigarette outside, and she holds the lighter underneath the page to reveal the invisible ink. And then gets the message from beyond the grave, and then all of a sudden her husband appears with a black eye, and I thought that was hilarious.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie. Very cleverly done.
Had you figured out who the baddie was?
I wouldn't say I'd figured it out. I had an inkling that something wasn't quite right.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, like you said, there was a donut in the donut.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I hadn't worked out exactly what was going on. No.
Well, and part of you goes, he can't be the baddie. That's just not right. It's just...
I know. He obviously doesn't want to get typecast.
No, I mean, it was quite funny and quite clever, and I think the character observations were exceptionally good.
Yeah. No, I did. I really enjoyed it. Well worth a watch. If anyone's got Amazon Prime.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. And the young girl, I think it was great.
The girl that was
Marta.
No, not Marta, the other one, the girl that was the daughter and getting
yeah.
paid and that. She's Hannah out of 13 Reasons Why. She's the girl that kills herself in 13 Reasons Why.
Okay.
I actually thought those two were in a relationship.
Oh, were they?
You know, like her and Marta.
Yeah.
It wasn't explicit, but I was thinking, are they doing that on purpose to keep it implicit so that you're left guessing? But I kind of got the impression that there was something between them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that. And then the other one that I watched the night before, also on Amazon Prime, The Professor and the Madman.
Oh, now, yeah, I've got that on my list. What was it like? And has Mel Gibson's Scottish accent improved?
I really enjoyed it. Now, I caveat here, I absolutely love true stories, biographies, true stories, anything like that. Give it to me. I don't care what the storyline is. I just love watching them. Really enjoyed that. The storyline is basically about two guys who write a dictionary. Now, that sounds like the most boring movie you could ever come up with, doesn't it? But it was really good. And there were loads of famous faces in there. Quite a lot of faces that were, do you know when you're watching something and you go, I know that person, but you don't necessarily know their name? There was loads of those in there. No, not Jodie Cromer. Oh, I can't remember the other girl. She played Anne Boleyn in The Tudors. She was in it. Natalie Dormer.
Natalie Portman. Or no, Natalie Dormer is the one out of
Tudors.
She's in Game of Thrones.
Yes, that's her.
And the elementary version of Sherlock, she is Irene Adler.
Yeah, she's in it. She was really good. Highly recommended. Now
Rita's in the house, just to let you know.
Oh, hi Rita.
Hey Rita.
Mel Gibson's accent, I don't know if it was necessarily any better than it was in Braveheart, but it didn't seem to annoy me as much.
Right.
I could zone it out. It was fine. It didn't affect me. I thought Sean Penn was amazing.
He is a brilliant actor.
He looked, the way that they'd done him up to look like this madman guy, he looked to me very much like Ben Kingsley.
Okay.
Because I kept looking at it and thinking, is that Ben Kingsley? No, it's Sean Penn. Yeah. No, honestly, recommend that. Give that one a watch.
Good to know.
Yeah.
The press have been strangely quiet this week about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, haven't they?
Is it still going on?
It was certainly in the news all last week. I don't know. They were expecting it would last sort of 3 weeks.
Has the jury gone out or something?
I don't know.
There's definitely been nothing about it this week. I don't know what to make of that, to be honest.
I find it sad to say, but actually a lot of what was presented makes it sound like she was a conniving nut job.
Like 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I think they beat each other up.
I don't know whether he did or not, but certainly even people who you would expect to speak up for her have talked about her explosive temper and her violence and how unpredictable she is. That's not generally a good sign. I'm not saying that he absolutely didn't, and I'm not saying that she absolutely did, but we have to bear in mind that women are just as likely to commit acts of domestic violence. It's just society rarely believes they can, and men rarely stand up to them and report it because they're embarrassed.
My initial thought was, if he is a wife beater, as he's been labelled, how come we've never heard about this before?
Well, why is Winona Ryder, who had a relationship with him years ago, standing up and saying it's utter tripe? Why is Vanessa Paradis, who's been his partner for over 20 years, defending him if that's what he is? And this is what I question, because his history doesn't suggest it. Hers does.
You don't suddenly change like that overnight, I wouldn't have thought, unless you're provoked.
Well, how provoked does someone have to be if this had been the other way around?
It's the Caroline Flack thing again, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it was on the news again today about the fact that they're saying she definitely killed herself, and she'd actually assaulted him. She hit him over the head with something whilst he was asleep because she thought he was having an affair.
Oh,
I mean, how goddamn scary is that? He woke up covered in blood and not knowing what was going on, and he's innocent of all charges. I mean,
were they still together after that?
Sorry?
Were they still together? Did they stay together, or did he leave?
Yeah, and he wouldn't press charges against her. It was the police who pressed charges, and there are a lot of commentators in the press saying, "Oh, if it was the other way around, they wouldn't have pressed charges." But the reality is there are a lot of domestic violence cases go to court. The problem is that women then don't always follow through, and we need to be stronger about that and make sure that we do.
Yeah.
And that it is difficult. They don't necessarily always get the support. And don't get me wrong, I am not defending what the press did to Caroline Flack. That was appalling.
That was, yeah.
But would the narrative have been the same if she'd have been a man who'd hit a woman with a vase or other object in the head while she was asleep, and that person woke up covered in blood after falsely being accused of having an affair? If that person had then killed themselves, wouldn't we be saying, "Oh, good riddance to bad rubbish"? And that's the bit that I question. And it's not a popular view, because I know someone who's been a victim of really vicious domestic violence by a woman. And it does happen. It's a lot more common than you think.
Do you not think she was this pretty thing that, you know, the narrative, it gets changed depending on how, I mean, it's wrong, but I do think that a lot of people's reactions in all sorts of situations depend on the appearance of the people involved in the story.
Well, if we go back to that poor young girl who was murdered over Christmas a few years ago, and the press demonised the landlord and accused the landlord. Now, he was a bit weird looking, but it didn't make him a murderer. And the reality is, there was someone who'd been previously convicted of violent crimes, if not murder, living in that house, renting a room, and nobody bothered to interview or even check out because the police had decided it was the landlord. And now they've had a big payout and they nearly ruined that man's life. And I just want to see a society that's a bit more cautious and a bit kinder and willing to actually look at it and not just demonise someone. Yeah, he did look a bit weird and he did look a bit creepy, but it doesn't mean he's a killer.
No. It really does. You see, there's a lot of it on Twitter at the moment, people demonising other people, and, you know, sometimes you make a genuine mistake and you apologise and it's not enough anymore.
No, I just find it a bit weird at the moment that everybody seems to be spoiling for a fight, and I just think, you know, just get back in your box, calm down a bit and stop it, because you wouldn't want anybody else to treat you like this. And if you can't be kind, then just don't be anything other than silent.
That's the point. That is the point. That's the well-known saying, in a world where you can be anything, be kind.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to give the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we don't know what happened with Caroline Flack. We don't know what happened with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. from what's been presented to us, I don't trust her.
Right.
But that doesn't mean she's guilty of anything, and it doesn't mean he is. It could just be it's a nasty divorce and they're both slinging mud in a desperate attempt to make the other one look worse. Or it could be that she's really evil and calculating, and she's just out for as much money and chaos as she can get out of him. She did run into the arms of Elon Musk, but apparently he wasn't wealthy enough.
Oh my goodness.
She was coming out with Elon Musk while she was married to Johnny Depp, so you know.
All I
We're
remember.
not talking about sweet innocent here. We're talking about someone who prepared to jump ship.
I just remember the fiasco with the dogs in Australia and stuff.
Oh God, yeah, taking the dogs to Australia and not doing the quarantine and all the legal stuff, and then being really stupid and arrogant about it.
Thinking they could just pay their way out of it.
Well, yeah.
Australians won't put up with that.
Well, no, and rightly so.
Yeah. Who do you think you are? But yeah, I just think that everybody needs to just breathe deeply at the moment.
Well, and I think there's a lesson to be learned with the sort of Ravelry kerfuffle. There's an awful lot of the issues that were there that have been fixed already. And if everybody would just calm down, stop screaming, stop drowning out the voices of people who are actually genuinely struggling and do need help, stop being drama queens and crusaders, for goodness sake. Shut up and let them get on with it.
My opinion on the whole thing, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but I am just going to say, yes, I believe the people that have had issues. Why would I not believe them?
Absolutely.
And for those people, I have really worked hard to try and move my patterns onto a platform additionally that they can use, so PayHip. But I won't be leaving
that as well. But to be honest, I haven't had a single sale from PayHip. I'm still getting sales from Ravelry, so I'm going to shut my Ravelry store.
I will not.
Certainly not boycotting the gift along when it's 50% of my annual income. I mean, for goodness sake, you know, I am prepared to support the cause, but I'm not prepared to starve to death because of it.
No, exactly. This is the thing. You have an issue, and I'm doing what is in my power to help you. But I'm not gonna throw my toys out of the pram. And the gift along, yeah, income obviously important. However, to me, more importantly, I just enjoy taking part in the event. It's the highlight of my year. Why would I not take part in it?
Well, absolutely. And there isn't another platform where it could be run.
There isn't. No, not at all.
It has to stay where it is, and we have to work with the owners. And let's not forget that the Ravelry team are 4 people at best.
Yeah.
They're a small family firm.
Yeah.
So let's not treat them like a big corporate and do the great I am and yell about how we're more important than everybody else. No, let's just let them get on with it. Cassidy is in a really bad way at the moment, and a lot of that will be down to the harassment that she personally has received. Tens of thousands of messages, some of them really quite aggressive and nasty. So she lashed out.
And again,
it's really sad.
I return to the Caroline Flack thing.
Yeah.
Be careful, because your actions have consequences. 13 reasons why. Again, you might think that what you're saying and doing is a small thing, but pile it on top of everybody else's small thing and you've got a problem. Just don't do it. There's no need, is my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to explain it. And
the
straw that breaks the camel's back.
Exactly. I also saw people complaining about the gal on Twitter, saying, as you know, designers complaining, why do these people think that they're gatekeepers and keeping me out because I haven't got 20 patterns, and really getting on their high horse about it. Now, I'd just like to say, and I didn't reply on Twitter because I just didn't want to get involved, but as somebody who participated in the gal, And as somebody who won a prize code for somebody who only had 5 patterns, and I already owned 3 of them and didn't want the other 2, it's actually really quite disappointing.
Yeah.
So
as a participant, you want choice.
You want choice, and that is the reason why there is a minimum number of patterns there. It's not to try and keep out new designers. It's not to make it elitist or anything like that. It is for the participants.
It is. And I think the other issue as well is, okay, you've got 5 patterns or 6 or 10 or 2.
Yeah.
So work a bit harder and produce some more and develop your craft.
Yeah.
And learn about what you're doing, because your first pattern isn't going to be perfect. There is a lot to learn along the journey to getting a catalogue of patterns. We're still learning. I've been doing this since 2012, and every pattern is a learning element for me in terms of verbiage and, you know, making things clear. And it might look perfectly clear to me, and I'm thinking, why are you struggling with that? But I need to learn from the knitters and the testers and everybody else to make that as clear as possible for as many people as possible. And there'll still be someone who goes, I don't get that. But that's fine. That's what customer service is for. But if you've only got 1 or 2 or 5 or 10, then get working on it. Yeah. If you spent as much time actually doing your designing as you did bitching about not being able to partake in events, you could probably produce 20 patterns between now and the gift along. I published 17 in my first year of designing whilst working full-time 50 hours a week. So don't tell me that it's not possible. It's whether you think it's important enough to put the effort into it or not, and what your particular time available is. And if your time available is only 2 hours a week, then I'm sorry, it's a part-time occupation, and I look forward to you having more time to do it and seeing what you produce with the time you have available. And it might be really creative and fun to do, but it may not be suitable for the gift along.
Exactly.
No, you can't be everything to everyone. You just can't.
No, even though people need to be happy.
They need to grow up.
And it's just really sad to see the community tearing each other down.
Well, part of it is they're fed up about COVID and they're just spoiling for a fight about anything and everything.
Yeah,
and Helen's saying absolutely agree, but also there can be too many designers. Absolutely. 2 years ago was massive. It was far too big. Just from the bundling point of view and getting all the patterns listed, and the corralling and herding of designers, which is always like herding cats, was just torturous. And for a participant to go into that giant bundle of patterns after that first week of the sale and see, you know, I don't know, 60,000 patterns or something, it's really overwhelming if they're not sophisticated enough for Ravelry users to be able to use the filters and the searches and narrow that down to the yarn weight and amount that they've got and just make it less overwhelming.
It really was. It's just scary, the amount of people. I think that was 15 patterns at that point as well, wasn't it?
It was. It's the first year we'd increased it.
And then last year it was 20.
Yeah.
No, there is a reason behind it. It's not people just trying to be arsey for the sake of it.
Well, no, it's about making it a manageable event. And frankly, if there are too many designers, it's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
The
other alternative is just have to cut the sign up down. You've got 4 hours, go.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, there was somebody kicked off last year about, well, I've got a dental appointment and I wanted to be earlier on the list, and now I won't be back until such and such, so I'll be late on the list. So can I sign up early? And Nina quite rightly said, no, you sign up in order. Yeah. Well, so and so has. Well, yes, but she's a moderator and she gives hundreds of hours of her time to make the event work. So if you'd like to be a moderator and promise me so many 100 hours to help work on the event, we can discuss your signing up early. Funnily enough, she signed up later in the day and it was just fine.
It's not like, you know, there's a festival coming on later, is there?
Well, it doesn't matter because they all go into a bundle anyway.
Yeah.
And there are only certain people who actually go through that initial sign-up list. Some people don't like to search that way.
Mm. Yeah, it's fine. Just do what you're supposed to do and get on with it. The moderators have got enough to deal with. That's, to me, I don't even see the early sign up of the moderators as a perk. To me, it's just get that job done and out of the way so that you can concentrate on other jobs that need doing.
Oh, well, there's a number of mean-spirited bitches, basically, who pop onto that thread after we've signed up and disagree with all of our posts.
There's no...
I mean, how sad and pathetic is that?
That is just not on.
But they've not got the actual nerve to say so in public, and that's the thing. It's the cowardice of it that I object to.
Hide behind the anonymity. What's the word? Is that the word?
Anonymity, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got my teeth in.
And you haven't even had a drink. In fact,
I wasn't even going to get on my soapbox.
Here we go. Now, Helen, I didn't get into the big bundle last year. It took me about 6 hours to go through the sale bundle. Yeah, it takes a while. And particularly if you've not got a real plan about what you're going to make. So you don't, you know, you could narrow it down to toddler sweaters or ladies' cardigans in 4-ply yarn or whatever your bag is.
Yeah.
Rita, I agree about the size of the gift along being overwhelming 2 years ago, and it only made me almost relieved that, it made me almost relieved that I only crochet. Yeah, and getting more crochet designers to participate as well would be a lovely thing to see, because there's some really creative designers coming out now and just some really inspiring stuff.
I think it's dark art, isn't it? It's amazing. They get this yarn and a hook and they go wiggle, 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 and all sorts of amazing things come out.
That's what we do. We just do that with sticks.
Well, yeah, but I know how that works, so it's not quite as exciting. But some of those patterns for birds that were suggested to Sammy in the after party.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, they are amazing. Couldn't believe it. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yay, got an even number. Whoop whoop.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Awesome. Well, that's where I'm at with my sleeve.
Oh, look at you racing along.
Well, it's just stockinette, isn't it? It's not.
Didn't expect anything else from a design by me. I love stockinette.
But it's very effective, though. I mean, the yarn does the work for sure.
The yarn does the work, but I wanted to just use up all my oddments of sock yarn. I was like, what can I do with it? There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
You can actually buy specific balls to go with each other if that's what you want to do, or you can do what I did and just grab a load out of the bag, split them in two, and away you go.
Well, I had split one into two, which was the one I was planning to cast on tonight, but
yeah, but you know,
I had other plans.
That's the problem. You split it into two, so therefore they thought that was one each. They're like, oh, look what Mum's done for us. She's given us one each.
Yeah, it's what annoys me is it involved them getting onto the sofa to get it.
It was obviously
furniture they're not allowed on, and they've got a brand new, fresh, squashy, extra thick duvet over there. And the excitement over this duvet when I have to throw them out and lock them out the back door to be able to put the duvet into the bed, because they're so excited that they run into the back of the bed and then I can't get the duvet in there.
Oh, you've got to love dogs, haven't you?
Oh, honestly, dumber than wood.
Went to sleep, I think.
Bless.
He's a very tired boy. You know, it's such hard work going out into the garden and having to chase your ball all the time for hours on end.
Are you going to watch the old guard this week?
Oh, I do need to go on there. The problem is I get in the habit of going onto a certain app. So at the moment, I'm in the habit of just loading up Amazon Prime. And I just go through and just watch all the things that it keeps recommending to me.
I really enjoyed the songs on that are playing in the background on the old guard, but the soundtrack, Alvin, is the actual movie soundtrack and not the songs that you hear. It's the incidental music. So I didn't want to buy that. So I then had to Google, and I found a list of the songs that are actually played and which part of the movie. Yeah. So I downloaded them onto my iTunes, got them onto my iPad and onto my phone, and put them to a playlist in order.
Excellent.
I've really been enjoying listening to the music, actually. It's introduced a few artists I've never heard of.
Right.
I think that's the thing. One of the things I love about the film, not least because I love my comics and those kind of characters, and it's a good comic set of characters, but it's a black director. It's a woman director.
Yeah.
There's a black woman who's sort of supporting actress, or certainly one of the leads. Charlize Theron is the star, I guess. But is it Kiki Lancaster? Kiki something, who plays this girl who's the new Immortal.
Okay.
Young black actress, and she's absolutely stunning. And you would never believe that this is either the first or one of the first things that she's been in, because she's just so good. And the music that they've picked, because obviously they're dealing with a young black woman, and some of the sort of more, I hate the expression urban, but that kind of music that I would probably have never listened to had it not been in that soundtrack. But now I'm actually really enjoying it. And Jake's going, oh yeah, that's Khalid. Who? Khalid. He was saying such and such. Yeah, okay. So I've had to go away and find out who Khalid is. Lovely voice. And listen to a load more stuff, and it's opened up a whole new world. And that soundtrack and those elements are because there's a black woman director.
Yeah. There you go.
And the difference in the culture on set they were talking about as well was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And I might be mildly crushing on the Italian actor who plays one of the Immortals.
Only mildly.
He's a bit slim and a bit heavy featured to what I would generally like. Right. And his character's gay. So, you know, it's amazing how fussy you get when you don't stand a chance.
Yeah. I get that.
But yeah, he's kind of interesting rather than attractive.
All right, okay.
He's somebody I like to go out for a drink with and just get to know a little bit better and talk to.
It's like someone you could have a beer with him.
Well, not a beer, because
I can't believe we're here with him. Like, you could grab a beer with him.
Well, you know.
Got to get those Hamilton references in somewhere.
Well, you have.
You've got to.
Raise a glass.
Yeah. Hi. Oh, so hopefully my fence might get finished off this weekend.
Yeah, because we cancelled Sunday, didn't we? We finally got your post up. That's something.
Got my posts in. And it's just a case of putting the wire fencing across now.
How tall is the chain link?
1.2 meters.
All right.
Yeah. So should be fine. The lady's away at the moment. I'm quite interested to see her face when she comes home. Well,
all it needs to be is a boundary. And if they're not paying for it, they don't have a choice what it looks like.
Offered 3 times. 3 times. Would you like to go halves with me? And she wanted nothing to do with that. Not her problem.
Yeah, well,
you know,
that useless son will have to put some latch panels up.
Well, you know, I can see it
But
happening.
obviously, you won't be letting him attach them to your post because
No
it's
way.
yours. He'll have
Not
to put his own in.
exactly.
That would be my attitude.
And goodness knows how he's going to do that, because there's no ground whatsoever in her garden. It's all flagstones.
Well, not your problem, is it?
It's not my problem. But apparently the post that's between her and her neighbour is my problem, even though it's not on my land.
It's nothing to do with you.
No. Oh, it's great fun. You know, if we didn't have this lockdown thing, you could come, you could stay in my spare bed, and I'd just sort of like show you what's going on, and I'd introduce you and my two neighbours. It'd be great.
She'd be, yeah, let's just get this clear. She'd be filling me full of Prosecco and then I'd rip their faces off.
Yeah.
That would be what would be happening.
Like the blue touch paper.
Yeah, step back.
Entertainment.
You know.
Yeah, so it's all fun and games in my house at the moment. Oh, and I don't have to get up. I got no alarm set for tomorrow morning at all.
All right. Well, I've got a board meeting next Thursday afternoon, so I'll finish that about 6 o'clock and then we'll be live about 6:30. So I may be eating my dinner.
That doesn't sound like fun.
It's got to be done.
Is it board meeting spelt with an A or spelt with an E?
It's spelt with an A, but it's probably an E. Yeah, there'll be elements of it that are like yarn a minute, but.
Are you on camera? Can you get away with like not listening?
I am on camera, yeah, but I mute myself.
Right.
And I try to do the minimum of eye rolling.
Can you not wear a pair of dark glasses? Pretend that you've got like.
I should maybe do that and just say I've got conjunctivitis.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've got to wear these dark glasses.
But then it would be like, have you watched Tracy Ullman where she does Angela Merkel?
No.
And it's Premier, we have to speak to you about this behaviour. What is it? She said, every time somebody mentions Boris Johnson or he speaks, you do the eye roll and everyone can see it. And she said, oh my God, am I doing that? I'm really trying not to do it. So they're practicing, and this Greta, who's sort of her second in command, is going like, come on, you can do this, you can do this, you can. I'm going to mention his name. And she mentions his name, and she flips off the chair onto the floor, and she's gone, oh my God, are you okay? And she said, I stopped the eye roll, but it flipped my entire body. And they sit her down again, go on, practice. And after several more attempts, she manages it. And the phone rings, and she says, it's Boris Johnson. And she just goes, with this massive eye roll, you're doing it again.
Oh, I love it.
But she's got her character sort of from what we see, obviously, and very caricatured, but she's got her absolutely nailed. And there's a meeting with the president or prime minister of France, Macron, the pretty one.
Oh yeah.
And she's supposed to be going to a meeting with him, and she's going, well, how's he going to cope? Because I just exude sex. How do I control it? And then he's flirting with her in the meeting, and her second in command sort of got this earpiece talking to her, and she's going, stop it, he's winning the negotiations because he's flirting with you. And she
can't out. Yeah, love it.
But yeah, they're well worth watching because she's just totally nailed it. And if you look at their version of Jacob Rees-Mogg, it's one of the funniest things I've ever watched, because his nanny goes everywhere with him and cuts up his food and puts a bib on to feed him and burps him after he's had his dinner. And
I tell you what, though, I am ridiculously excited for Spitting Image to return.
Oh yeah. I mean, the stuff that they're going to have to work with at the moment. Dominic Cummings, have you seen the puppet?
Oh my God, it's hilarious! It's like Ming the Merciless or something.
Well, yeah, I was thinking Ming the Merciless crossed with Gollum.
Yes.
He looks a bit precious.
I really cannot wait. Now, I know.
And there's going to be a Specsavers ad in there. You just know that, don't you?
Well, it's going to be on. It's on BritBox, but I don't know if it's going to be on ITV as well, or if it's just on BritBox.
Well, the BBC are part funding it, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's why, because it's BritBox, which is BBC and ITV, and Channel 4 and Channel 5. But yeah, it's like a joint thing. That's why it's going on BritBox.
No, so I don't have BritBox.
I might have to sign back up again. You get a free trial.
I don't know.
So wait until all the episodes are on. Do your free trial and then just cancel it. You're fine.
Binge watch them all and then
yeah, can't wait. Helen says he looks like Gollum.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. It's a bit creepy.
It's going to be hilarious. I can't believe it's taken that long for them to get it back. I used to love Spitting Image.
Yeah, you've got to have something to say though. I mean, that classic one for me is, well, there's two. Is the Margaret Thatcher in the cabinet going for a steak dinner. So what are you having, sir? And because she's in a man's suit with the deep voice, and she said, steak, raw steak. What about the vegetables? They'll have steak too. And then the other one was, I can't remember which South African president it was. It was Pik Botha, South African president in the days of apartheid and all of the hatred and everything else.
Yeah.
And this bunch of black guys break into his office and start stabbing him while singing, "You can't get a better bit of butter on your knife." I'm sorry, it just appealed to the sick side of my sense of humour.
That is brilliant. I just really remember John Major. Peas are nice tonight, dear.
Yeah.
Because
he was obsession with peas and he was always grey.
Grey and boring and had nothing to say.
Grey ghosty man. And which MP was it had the Mr. Whippy hair?
Heseltine?
I think it might have.
No.
No. One of them had hair like a Mr. Whippy ice cream puppet. And Ian Paisley, Reverend Ian.
Reverend Paisley.
Whenever he used to talk and he blew people away like a tornado with all the hot air.
Who was the one that would spit everywhere?
Oh yeah. Roy Hattersley. So Roy Hattersley. And I think they ruined the career of David Steele by making him like the ventriloquist puppet to David Owen. This little tiny puppet that sat on his knee.
Oh, yeah.
Mind you, I always remember Dame Edna, one of these audiences with Dame Edna, and she was chatting to David Steele.
Yeah.
And who's this with you, darling? It's my wife, Judy. Judy Steele, tell me the history of that frock, darling. Was it curtains?
I don't get it.
Well, it was obviously a loud floral, a really horrible pattern dress. She said, tell me the history of that frock. Was it curtains?
Oh, frock.
Yeah.
I thought you said frock. That's why I answered.
The frock. Tell me the history of that frock, darling. Was it curtains? I felt for the woman. I sat there almost cringing for her, but I did laugh, and I will admit that it was funny.
I do like a bit of satire. I'm sorry, you don't go to, it's like when you go to the comedy club or whatever, you don't go near the front unless you want to be heckled.
Well, yeah, and they were sat at the front, so you know.
There you go.
You're game if you're there.
Yeah. Do you know my bottom is falling asleep?
I could say that's a lot of sleep, but that's kind of
rude. That's cool.
And I've hardly used any yarn at all.
Oh, excellent, you'll be fine.
I'm going to have to get another ball of yarn.
What you should have done was, you know, what you did with the other one and divide it.
Yeah, I just don't do that now.
Not
that's the other option that I can use with it. So what do you think of that, peeps?
I like that as well. It's gorgeous.
I like the little hint of khaki that just pops out every now and then.
Yeah, I love
It's got a bit of purple, it's got a deep red, it's got various pinks. I mean, it does work with that yarn, so
it'll be good.
I might weigh this, and when I get to 25 grams, swap to the other yarn.
There you go, see. Do it.
Yeah, it's not bad. How many inches of sleeve is that this evening? 1, 2, 3, 4 3/4.
It's pretty good going.
It's not bad, is it?
Not bad at all.
In 4-ply yarn on 3.75mm needles.
Exactly, which is
pretty quickly, actually.
You feel like you're doing 4K. 4K?
4K.
Yeah, doing 4K.
I'm quite enjoying working with the 4-ply yarn, I'll be honest. A friend of mine who died probably about 6 or 7 years ago, used to have a business called Flora, who her daughter took over after she died, and her and her husband Jeff were sort of my best friends, really.
All right.
Closest friends, and it was always joked as our northern office, and which was in Workington, and about 6 miles from where Mike lives. So whenever I was up there seeing them or doing some business in the area, I used the internet at their office. We would have lunch together. We'd have a good old chinwag. We might go out to dinner together, the 4 of us in the evening, or have a drink or whatever. Yeah. But we were very close. And she hadn't knitted for years, and I turned up with a knitting project. And I didn't have an appointment. I was waiting to see Mike later in the evening, and I said, "Oh, do you mind if I hang around?" "Oh, no, you stay." And we're chatting, having cups of tea, and I'm knitting away. And the next thing, "Where did you get that yarn from?" And I got an order from Kemp's. And the next thing, she's on the internet. "What about this stuff? What about that stuff? Is that any good? What fiber's that? What will that be like? Is that machine wash? Is that?" And before I knew it, she'd ordered £30 worth of yarn, which arrived a couple of days later. And she was back to knitting, but everything that she knitted was in 4-ply. Right. She didn't work with anything thicker than 4-ply. And I remember laughing at her and saying, "You will never see me make a sweater in that stuff." So who's laughing now? She'll be sat up there absolutely howling. But bless her, I went one day and I said to Jeff, "She's in a state, what's going on?" And she'd had some issues with her stomach. And they knew she had some internal bleeding from an ulcer or something, but they could never quite find it. However much investigation they did, they could never solve it. And it had gone septic. Oh. And they hadn't picked up on it. They thought she had food poisoning. And I went to see her on the Thursday, and I looked at Jeff and I said, "I want you to take her to the hospital. I want you to take her right now." Yeah. I said, "I don't like the look of her. I've got a really bad feeling about this. Get her to the hospital." And I gave her a hug. Off they went to the hospital. I drove off to Mike, said, "I'm really worried about Pat. I'm not happy about this." I didn't sleep a wink. And at about 4 in the morning, he phoned me up and she died in his arms. Sepsis. My mum sepsis. I think she's pretty much living with it or something. I don't think they managed to get on top of it. They still keep threatening to take her leg. It's horrendous. It really is. And she goes through bouts of having almost like Alzheimer's with it as well. Yeah. Well, it affects your whole system, doesn't it? And that's the difficulty. Because your body's fighting just to stay and to battle it, and there's so much going through the amount of doctors that miss it as well. Yeah, that's the scary part. It is. I mean, Pat had been having investigations and even been sent to oncology, and they still never sorted this. And they said it was basically an ulcer on the bowel that should have been picked up on one of the 10 or 12 bowel investigations that she had, but they hadn't found it. And it was so bad it had almost caused a blockage, but they still didn't find it. And you just think, what are you guys doing? I mean, that particular hospital, I wouldn't go there to get my toenails clipped, I have to say. Mike's made it very say that if he's got a heart attack, I have to have him taken by helicopter to Newcastle. Says that you are not taking me to a Cumbrian hospital in the north of Cumbria.
Newcastle.
Newcastle's brilliant. It's got the best heart unit in the north. Well, that and Blackpool, I think, are absolutely brilliant for heart stuff.
There are a couple of park runs near the RVI.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
That's where Kevin went for his second operation. Jake's dad.
Cool. Knickers.
Is it triple bypass or quadruple bypass? Personality bypass, one of those.
No, he just needs that, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, he's on a waiting list.
He'll be waiting a while. Quite a few people who need one of those.
Yeah, and a knitted cow.
What? We won't talk about the knitted cow. Actually, I'm half tempted.
Could you not just knit like a little cow shape and then put a photograph of her face on it?
I was actually half tempted to knit one and put it all over my Facebook saying, look at this gorgeous cow that I've knitted for myself.
Yeah. And then she'd leap in and say, I inspired her to do it. I am her muse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the word we were thinking of, but it did have 4 letters.
Honestly, she's obviously never heard of knitworthiness.
Well, no. I mean,
it's fine. I did try and be professional and say, no, sorry, that's not what I do. This is where you can find someone who does that. And, you know, what gave you the impression that I might do that? And then I just lost it after the reply.
Yeah, it's easily done.
I tried. I did try. Not for very long. Lane says I scare her. When she read what I'd written, she said, you scare me sometimes. I was like, what? I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I thought you were quite mild. I'd have had a few offs and expletives in there, let's be honest.
You know, I was trying to say to her, this is where you can get it from. But, however, if you do start asking somebody else, can you please temper your language a little bit? Because I know you, but if you start talking like that to a stranger, they really are going to take offence.
Yeah, it was dismissive.
So
it was almost like
doing her a favour, really, to be perfectly honest.
Belittling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, I'm gonna pull that through there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be lovely.
It's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, and it's got plenty of room for my musculature.
Your muscles are doing really well at the moment.
As per the pattern, I've not increased or anything else for the sleeves. There are 2 extra stitches I picked up either side, which I decreased straight away to stop the underarmy holing thing that you can sometimes get when you pick up stitches.
I like your technical language.
Yeah, underarmy holy thing.
That's the one.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm just so technical and geeky all the time.
They should write a movie about you. You know, never mind these 2 boring old guys from the Victorian times writing a dictionary.
Do you know, when I saw it and the plot synopsis, all I could think of was Blackadder and...
Yeah, because I started watching it and I was like, I'm sure that's not
Johnson's dictionary. And at the end where he takes the copy back of Prince George and he says, hang on a minute, all you've done is underline the rude words. And said, well, that's what everyone else will be doing.
But I was sitting there thinking, that's not the name of the guy in Blackadder. I'm sure that the person who wrote the dictionary wasn't called that in Blackadder. And obviously it's not the first ever dictionary because that was during King George's reign and this is during the Victorians. So, yeah.
Yeah, and now they've got to find room for words like twonk and copper.
Yeah, but that just goes in the Urban Dictionary, doesn't it?
Well, twonk actually is Victorian.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sounds like something like a clock going wrong, you know, like a wind-up clock.
It's a curious cross between TWAT and twit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just
honestly, it still sounds like the clock to me. You know, if you've got a clock that needs winding up and it goes wrong and it's like twonk. That's what twonk sounds like to me.
okay.
Michelle's going to bed. I'm going to bed, Michelle. It's bedtime.
So night, Michelle, sleep well. Time for us to go because Emma's got a numb bum. And she's yawning very, very beautifully and attractively there. Yes. What are we going to talk about on Sunday?
What does anybody want us to talk about on Sunday?
I might have a sleeve and enough body that I can put it on a thread to sort of.
Ooh.
I wonder if I did the correct sleeve to be able to have the sleeve next to the. I didn't think that through, did I? I should have thought about which sleeve to pick up. So if the V's at the back, I've picked up the wrong sleeve to show you it in progress whilst wearing it.
Either that or just quickly slip it onto...
yeah, or I could keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't. I'm going to be getting on with my baby jumper. I've literally just got ends to sew on this now. And then I'll get on with this.
Really cute. I love the little ruffles, the ruffly bottom.
Keep them, keep them, keep them.
Oh,
the breast perfectly. That was the intention. I will not be able to cast on my Alicia Plummer project for my grandson because I have to wait for the yarn to come.
Would anybody like me to explain in simple terms how I calculated the maths for my adaptations for campsite? Look, watch the tumbleweed float across the screen there and all the silence as everybody's running away going, oh my God, don't tell us that.
Do you mean now or do you mean on Sunday?
On Sunday.
Oh, right, yeah, definitely on Sunday because I'm thinking now my brain just can't take anything in. It's too tired. But definitely on Sunday I would like to hear.
Yeah, because there was a logic to it in how many more inches I wanted to cover at the front, roughly how many stitches that needed to be, how would that then take me up to the next size, and then how I arrived at that in terms of my increase ratio and all of that. And it's all fairly simple, but if it helps someone else adapt something.
Definitely.
Or someone else who wants a bit more coverage for their fronted.
Cool.
Right, so we'll see you Sunday. Can you write it down? Oh, I can do Sunday. I can write it down, and if it helps, I could probably also do some sort of graph.
And don't forget to
or maybe chart it so that not with the details of the pattern, but obviously what my logic was and how that would look in chart form. For example,
are we going to run it like a workshop? Do we all need to pick a pattern that we want to adapt? And you can talk us through it.
Well, I could maybe make suggestions on how you might approach it.
So if we all pick a pattern, so you can explain what you did and how to do it and everything, and
I
then
could give you an idea of how you could apply that to another pattern, most certainly.
Yeah,
or how many increases you might need to do to take it up a size or down a size in a particular part of the body, most certainly, yeah.
Right, so Helen, come prepared.
Yeah, and she said, might be cleverer on Sunday, I'm knackered now. Yeah, aren't we all? Hopefully we'll have had a bit of a rest by then.
Look into my eyes.
But yeah, we can always do it over a couple of sessions where we cover sort of upper body, then lower body, or just in sleeves or things like that.
We could talk about the rise.
Could I just knit it too? Yeah, funny that. Yeah, do you know, I'm just unavoidably busy now.
Because, you know, we want to give you the opportunity to knit something.
Yeah, I knitted you a cardigan and you give it me back.
Oh, I love it.
It was totally a yarn you would hate, and it was for me. But that's not the point.
Okay, all
right. So we'll see you on Sunday. So,
all right, bye now.